Welcome to the Listen for Life podcast with Genevieve Richardson. Genevieve is a speech-language pathologist rehabilitating adults with communication challenges after a stroke or due to a neurological impairment. Get equipped with knowledge from experts in the field and professionals you need to know. We'll hear stories and experiences from others who are navigating life with aphasia. So, put your earphones in and take a walk outside. This isn't just a podcast. This is a community, a resource, and a support system. We're in this together. Do life.
Welcome to the Listen for Life Aphasia podcast. I am so excited to introduce you all to a speech pathologist, Sarah Awde. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I asked Sarah to join us today because she is in the early stages, but it's available now, SpeechFlix. And I saw your post on Facebook in one of the aphasia groups, and I was just blown away with just the thought, the concept that there's nothing else out there quite like it. Will you tell us about SpeechFlix, and then we're going to find out more about you?
Yes, absolutely. So SpeechFlix, the best way to describe it is a Netflix style site of on-demand speech therapy, home practice videos for adults. So aphasia, which is we know is word retrieval or comprehension issues, also dysarthria, so slurred speech articulation, apraxia. We eventually want to have a whole segment on aging voice, voicing issues.
Oh, great.
There's a segment for specific to Parkinson's as well, and the Parkinson's voice and speech issues that occur. So yeah, it's really for any adult that has any communication issue, and they can use this SpeechFlix site, a membership to SpeechFlix, to just target whatever they want to target with respect to their voice, their speech, or their language.
Love that. Yeah. So folks, I was checking it out today. How many videos do you have on there, Sarah?
I think having just launched in January, just a few months ago, we already have about 170 videos of varying levels, targets, themes. So yeah, we're building a database quickly, and it's only going to get more robust, more videos as the weeks and months go on.
Neat. Love that. Okay, so let's go back because I definitely want to hear the origin of all that. But tell us about how you became a speech pathologist. What brought you to the field?
So I did my undergraduate degree. I'm Canadian at a Canadian university in French Linguistics. So I've always loved the acquiring language, analyzing language, the whole linguistic side to language acquisition. And I am bilingual. I'm French-English bilingual. Also a little bit of Spanish, having lived in Mexico now for 2 years. But I knew that I wanted to do something with language or speech because of my love of languages. So it just seemed to make sense to go into speech pathology, which of course is the remediation and the helping of people with speech and language issues. So yeah, I did my master's 20 years ago. And it's been quite a journey. I've always worked with adults, specifically across the healthcare spectrum, and I have a particular love for stroke and Parkinson's.
That's amazing. So this is just a rando question, but how do you think your linguistics background assisted you in working with aphasia specifically?
So that's a good question. So I think being a French second language learner, because I'm not natively French speaking, I don't come from an area of Canada that's natively French. I'm in a very Anglophone area. I understand the struggle of having to learn how to speak, because French has been an ongoing, for the past 40 years for me, has been an ongoing process of acquiring the French language. So there are a lot of similarities to that, to someone learning a new language as a second or third language, and someone that's lost their language due to a stroke or traumatic brain injury, what have you. And then, so I think I really understand what works, what doesn't work, what's helpful, what's fun, what keeps you engaged, what keeps you motivated.
That's neat. I was thinking about my client that I'm working with, and he's going to be moving to Italy, and he's been practicing his Italian, and he's got a
Mhm,
like a residual dysarthria. And so
mhm.
he's really working to speak with intent. And
Yeah,
we are now blending in Italian, and he needs to learn some French too.
amazing.
And so it's just get because he had a right hemisphere stroke, so he doesn't have aphasia specifically, but
Mhm.
it's still really interesting how he has to put the extra, like the grammar, he's got to pull the vocabulary, he's got to put the words
Yeah,
in order, just like our folks with aphasia. And he's got to say it with intent in a foreign language. And
yeah.
we were playing with it today, and it was so fun and interesting. And what a brain
And I
workout.
think that it is such a cognitive workout. And if you are a second language learner, if you are learning Italian or French or Spanish, you have to speak with intent because it can't be automatic for you. So that's kind of the magic of it's probably going to come out clearer if you do have a slurred speech or a dysarthria, because we know that automatic system in the brain, things tend to come out less loud, a little bit more slurred. But when you do use very deliberate, intentional speech, you're accessing that other part of the brain, the non-automatic system in the brain. So you can come out with that magically louder, clearer speech.
I love it. My mentor was
Mhm.
also in linguistics for years before he went into speech pathology, and it gave him a really unique perspective on treating
Mhm.
aphasia. So
It sure does.
he's got lots of different angles for phonology and more, working in morphological endings and, just fun different stuff that's not your average everyday method.
Yeah, I think people that come from that linguistic side or from who know other languages or speak other languages, they maybe bring a little something special to the aphasia treatment. Yeah, it certainly has helped my ability to help people to pull out language and really focusing on functional things that are really useful in real life. I mean, yes, there are drill-like activities that you can do and that can be very helpful, but my favorite kind of approach is what can we help this person with that's actually going to serve them in their real life.
Absolutely. It's all about function and carryover and what's important to them. So great.
Absolutely.
So, talk to us a little bit about how your career progressed. So, I understood that, from linguistics into speech and then wanting to work with adults. Same story
Mhm.
for myself. What did you kind of do with your career that led you to realize
Mhm.
that there was a hole that you could fill?
So I graduated in 2004 and immediately went into acute care, which, if anyone that's a speech therapist that's worked in acute care, you tend to be more on the swallowing side of things because there just isn't the time and the resources. So I actually would take breaks from acute care. We were very fortunate. All the hospitals that I worked at had rehabilitation centers affiliated or attached to the hospitals. So I loved my coverage and stints in the outpatient neuro rehab clinic and the inpatient stroke units. So I really got a fondness for, the direct therapy for rehabilitation. And then in 2000, about the mid 2000s, after I'd had my two kids, I always knew that it was one of the dreams to go abroad at least for a year to France because I'm a huge lover of France, the French culture, the French language, and I wanted my children to be completely bilingual. So I was able to do a sabbatical, so work for 3 years at three-quarters pay at the hospital. And then I was able to go abroad in 2018 with the family for 1 year, or so we thought. So we got there, we were in 6 months into our sabbatical in France. And I said, well, we can't give up this lifestyle. This is too fabulous. So it was a big leap of faith to have to quit my job, the golden handcuffs at the hospital with the pension and the benefits and, the good pay and all of that. And I started to really think outside the box. What can I offer that's online, because of course I'm not in Canada or the United States, that would be really useful to the adult population.
Mhm.
So my very first passion project was creating a program specifically for Parkinson's disease called the Get Loud, Stay Loud program. And that launched in April of 2020. And if we remember anything from spring of 2020,
That was
COVID hit.
wow. Yeah.
So the timing of that, I always say if there's anything positive that came out of COVID, if we can look for a silver lining, is that many people became very comfortable, especially adults that maybe weren't super tech savvy, weren't comfortable with online programming or online therapy or online meetings. They got comfortable very fast. Every, support meetings, doctor's appointments, family get-togethers all became online. So I was very fortunate in that the uptake of this Get Loud, Stay Loud program was huge. And soon after that, about a year or two after that, Parkinson Canada really took notice of my Parkinson program and made us an official wellness partner. And that's been huge as well. So then it was last year, I've had this SpeechFlix has been bubbling under the surface for the last few years. And I finally decided that I needed to just put this, it had to come out. It was like an artistic expression that had to come out. And so I already had a Parkinson's speech therapy team that were also very well versed in aphasia. And I found another amazing speech therapist out of Maryland who's on our content creation team. And we just launched it in January, beginning of January. And it's going great. It's already getting lots of attention. I've had universities reach out to me wanting to collaborate and bring SpeechFlix in to help their students to, supplement maybe what they're doing in the in-house clinic or their outpatient practicums. So I think the sky's the limit, and we're really just kind of in the infancy stage of where we're going.
I love the idea of grad students seeing your videos because there is nothing like seeing it. And maybe they're professors, maybe they don't have all that experience, right? They're very good at being supervisors and, whatever their zone of genius is. But what a great way to supplement with your videos to see how a speech pathologist, even though it's you or your other contributors on video, you're not with a client per se, but I still think you set an excellent example for graduate clinicians on how to do it, how to talk, all of it.
Yeah, and what pace to go, what, maybe some inspiration as to different approaches for different targets. I also love the idea of collaborating with, fresh out of the box new speech therapists or speech therapy students, because I also think that there's a lot that they can teach us with maybe new approaches that I've never heard of. I love getting feedback from other speech therapists about possible videos we could create, or if you ever thought of doing this. I love it when members reach out and give us suggestions about, my husband's using the program. He really loves this. Could we do a video? And we always take that feedback on. It gives us just that inspiration for future videos.
What is the website where people can check out SpeechFlix?
So it's just www.speechflix.net. So speechflix.net.
Neat. And when someone gets on that site, how do they know where to go? Because you've got, like you said, 170 videos on there.
So it is very user-friendly. I think anyone, maybe except for a significant cognitive issue, might be able to navigate it on their own, in which case, hopefully there's a speech therapist or a caregiver or a family member that can help them, just select the video. But all of our videos, every time we upload a new speech therapy home practice video, it's tagged under all of the appropriate segments. So it might appear under all verbal expression videos, and then it might also appear under intermediate level. And then depending on what it is, it might also appear under something like picture or video description task. So no matter how you're looking for videos, whether it's by level of difficulty, whether it's by what the target is, maybe what the theme is, we also meta tag every video. So let's say I upload a video and it's all about golf. Well, it'll be
Mhm.
tagged with golf, sports, hobbies. So there's a search bar at the top if you are looking for something specific, that if I typed in golf, anything related to golf would pop up. So it is very user friendly. It remembers which videos you've done. And if you only got partway through, it'll save it at the top for you.
Ah,
If you're working in collaboration with another speech therapist and you're using this just as your interim home practice in between sessions, your speech therapist can go on with you and click which videos they want you to do for homework as favorites, and it'll show up again at the top of the screen. So there's lots of different features on there. We even have, for certain videos like our cognition, we have a whole cognitive section. Our occupational therapist does these magical cognitive videos, and oftentimes she'll have a handout
mm,
that maybe you have to write on. Or let's say you're doing an auditory comprehension video and the task is to listen to a phone message and then write down the key points
mm.
of the phone message. We've got a printable thing that's like, phone message pad that you can have. So
Yeah.
little printable handouts with some of our videos that can be really helpful.
What kind of feedback are you getting from your members? How are they liking the videos? And how are they
They
using them?
We've only had amazingly positive feedback. We have one mom who has an adult son that is quite a severe on the spectrum autism. And she just said that it's been magical for him, that he's speaking more clearly. She lets me know what are his favorite videos, what are his favorite colors. So I try to incorporate that into anything that I think he might like. So really, we love the feedback that people are getting. And we're getting amazing feedback from the speech pathology community as well. I posted within a few different groups just to kind of get
Mm,
feedback. And we've only had a very, very positive response, because I think people understand that we're not trying to replace direct one-on-one therapy. That's always going to be the gold standard. But we also have to realize that there's often wait lists, especially in Canada. We have situations where an outpatient neuro rehab clinic gets now a 3 to 4 month wait after a stroke to get into an outpatient neuro rehab clinic. There's times when you're working directly with a speech therapist and you want a way to stay motivated and do practice videos in between. And then also, speech therapy might be time limited. So maybe you've had your few months of direct therapy,
mm.
you've been discharged, but aphasia can be lifelong. We know that from the people that we work with. So for them, having this ability to stay, doing those videos, practicing every day can make a big difference.
Makes a huge difference. We all know that neuroplasticity is use it or lose
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
have intensity,
absolutely.
and challenge yourself. Because I would imagine, even if someone, let's say, needs to work on word finding and they can use
Mhm.
those variety of videos, they can start poking around in there and do working memory. I was watching one today with the quotes, with the symbol puzzles. So
Yeah,
cool. Very
yeah.
inventive, very fun and interesting. And I love, love, love her accent. And
Yes, that's Josephine. She's
it's just so fun. So I see a
Mhm.
lot of applications, and that it could be a really great for a clinic like
Mhm.
mine
Yeah,
to use that and assign
yeah.
videos and somehow get feedback from them about how they're progressing. How do you think we could do that as a clinic? If
So
I
that's
assign certain videos.
So the newest thing, at first we launched it as single memberships only, but in the past month we've actually launched what are called facility licenses. So if someone from, like yourself, from a private speech therapy practice, or let's say an aphasia support group or aphasia organization, a stroke rehabilitation clinic, an acute care hospital, a long-term care facility, SNFs, I think you call them in the States, any of those organizations can reach out to us and let us know how many users they could anticipate using the program. And then we give them a special, obviously discounted rate for so many users. And that organization or practice could have a facility license. So if you have a speech therapy private practice and you want to have a facility license for 5 to 10 users, then you would always be able to have your direct clients working and accessing SpeechFlix
Yeah.
under your guidance.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to get carryover at home because
Mhm.
sometimes, a good part of the session, a good chunk of it can be about getting them trained, or training
Mhm.
the spouse to carry over the task at home. And what a
Yeah.
great resource, just as
Mhm.
another tool in the toolbox to
We
carry on.
also have a whole section on educational videos.
No.
So Jessie, one of my content creator speech therapists, she loves creating videos on strategies for word retrieval. How, what sort of things can you create at home with your own resources? She's about to do a whole series on dysarthria and how to, strategies to get clearer speech. So alongside the follow along therapeutic style videos, we also have educational ones that, again, caregiver training, compensatory strategies, all those kinds of things I think would be a fantastic addition.
Yeah, that families can use on their own
Mhm.
or,
Yeah.
side by side with the speech pathologist and could even work that into the goals. I love to think outside the box in different ways that such an amazing resource can be used.
Yeah. And I mean, there's lots of great tools out there. This is another, hopefully, tool that people find really useful and motivating. And I think there's lots of apps out there, and I'm a big fan of some of these apps, but I also am a person that likes to have a person in front of me. I like a human face. I like a human voice. So I think that's a really nice, for people, especially people that can't access direct therapy for whatever reason, just
Mhm.
can't access it geographically, financially, what have you. Maybe they live abroad. Maybe they're like me who likes to live abroad and they just don't have access to an English speaking therapist wherever they're living. Your client that maybe is going to Italy, having something online that they can use that's in English, it's a human being, it's someone coaching, guiding, directing you, and motivating you to do these
Mhm.
exercises.
I think it would be really fun to do this in like an aphasia support group,
Mhm.
where
Yes.
everybody maybe is doing it together and then they can talk about it and
Yeah.
brainstorm strategies and what works for them. And Sally, how did I sound? Whatever.
Mhm.
I just, lots of different, unique, and interesting ways to use it.
And I think we're just kind of at, like I said,
Yeah.
in the infancy stages of realizing
Mhm.
how this resource can be used across different groups, organizations, and for what purposes.
If a speech pathologist had an idea for a video or a
Mhm.
family, if they thought,
Yeah.
Sarah, what about XYZ? How would
Mhm.
they make that kind of suggestion?
Just reach out. Our email is just simply info at speechflix.net. They can reach out to me. I'm always happy to correspond either on Zoom, email, on the phone. I love feedback. That's what gets me excited is someone saying, "How about this?" And I think, "Okay, how can I make that into a really
Mhm.
interesting video?" And having a team of content creators, which I'm sure will only increase as we go along. I love the fact that everyone has a different personality, has a different approach. As you mentioned, Josephine has a lovely British accent, which is just, and that's also great cognitively for us to hear different.
Absolutely.
I obviously sound like I'm from Canada, and then we have others that are from different parts of the United
Mhm.
States, from the UK. I think that's also really good for our cognition as we retrain our brain.
I'm going to ask you, are there captions available? I have gotten so accustomed to
Yeah.
subtitles when I'm watching shows because I'm always streaming at home.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I'll have to see if we have that feature on our platform to see if because you can adjust the speed.
Ah,
So
I love that.
let's say you're doing a rapid naming task and there's just, tools like,
Mhm.
hammer, screwdriver. If it's not challenging enough for you, you can increase the speed. Or if it's too challenging, you can slow it down. I would say the only way that subtitles wouldn't be beneficial if someone's doing a strictly auditory comprehension task
Probably.
and then you don't want it on the screen because you want them to only be thinking about what they're
Mhm.
hearing.
Mhm.
But yeah, if we could have that feature of turning on I know you can do that on
YouTube.
YouTube, you can do it
Yep.
on Zoom.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good
I
suggestion.
love that. Yeah. But I was really excited seeing the breadth of the videos that you have, tackling
And it's
lots of
only going to
different
increase.
language and cognition. What was your favorite video to record? Or maybe your
Okay.
favorite and maybe what was the most challenging?
So that's probably the same one. On YouTube, I found this AI creator who does these really beautiful atmospheric videos. And the one that I really loved was kind of the Shire theme. It was very, oh, it's just like the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings type thing. And I just thought, well, this would be a really good kind of video description task that at varying levels. So at the beginner level, maybe you're just naming things that you see as the video progresses. And then at a higher level, you're actually doing like paragraph level commentary about what's happening and what you're seeing in the video. So I actually reached out to this team. They're in Holland that do these really beautiful videos. And I asked them if I could use them, because obviously I can't just take someone else's content. And they were thrilled that their videos could be used in this sense. And so they said, as long as I give them attribution at the end, which of course I do, that I could have free reign to use these videos. So that's going to be there's a few of them on there, but I still have to look through some of their other videos and see how I can use those. But yeah, I love thinking about different ways, because you just don't get that with a notebook style speech therapy exercise book. I think something that's really visually appealing and different is going to keep people interested and motivated and coming back to do more videos. And the nice thing is you can do the videos over and over again. Maybe when you did them 3 months ago, you were only able to get out very short utterances, or it was quite choppy and disfluent. And then as you get better at it, you see more things are coming out. You're becoming more verbose and eloquent and fluent in your expressive language.
Always what we want. Always what we want.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking if they had a smartphone or an iPad, they could prop it up and they could record themselves practicing with the video. And that's a great way to show, like you were saying, their progress over time. Because sometimes our folks need to have that kind of feedback, because what they think is coming out maybe isn't coming out the way, and sometimes they need that video, they need that feedback loop too.
I love that's a great tool and a great trick of any speech therapist to actually record someone, either audio or video, and have them have that actual biofeedback to say, oh, do I say with dysarthria, with slurred speech, not understanding that, things are coming out sounding as slurred as they are. Yeah, that's a great tool. So yeah, lots of different ways to.
So fun. And you could list these ideas, how to supplement with the videos that people can do on their own. You can have a little video about how to set up your iPhone or your Android phone or something, such and so forth.
There's every time I speak to someone like you, another speech therapist that very much has the same sort of, outside the box thinking, I just get so many ideas.
I know, right? And you got to go
excited.
Right. We'll finish our recording and then you're going to sit there, dictate into your phone these ideas.
Yeah. And it's almost like I don't have enough time to implement.
I know, right?
You'll
just have to assign it to other content makers. Using the internet, teaching people how to search for things. Sometimes I've had to reteach how to do it, or how to think about how to have a concept and then come up with what would your search terms. You could have a whole video about, well, here's the process for it's not the physicality of getting onto Google, but it's thinking of the words in a different way.
Yeah. What search terms would be relevant to what I'm looking to find, or even one that's specific to SpeechFlix. How do you navigate SpeechFlix when you have aphasia? What's the best way to use it? And, search terms that are relevant to what you're looking for.
I love thinking about new ways and new approaches. There's just not enough time in the day. Some kind of check-off list of things that maybe it's just a simple spreadsheet or something that they can print out to keep track of what they've worked on, so that it's something physical in front of them. I'm a big write on paper kind of
Me too.
gal. I love my Google Docs and spreadsheets, but yeah.
I live
Oh,
by this.
I've got a side table over here with just piles of thoughts and notes and notebooks. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love the idea of SpeechFlix. I love what you're doing with it. You are such an entrepreneur, linguist, speech pathologist. It's really exciting.
Well, thank you. And thank you for noticing it and reaching out. This is, I mean, the our biggest not challenge, but mission is to have as many people as possible know about SpeechFlex so they can try it out.
Absolutely.
There's a 5-day free trial, so
Great.
anyone can just sign in, try videos, see if it works for them. And then, of course, promoting these facility licenses so that rehab facilities, hospitals, aphasia groups, support groups,
Mhm.
speech therapy practices can all have this at their fingertips as well.
And as my community becomes familiar with SpeechFlix, then they can go to their speech pathologist or their rehab facility and say, hey, you guys got to check out this product. I am excited to see where this goes. Could somebody go on and say, and is there a questionnaire or a way to help focus them towards a certain kind of video? If they're a fluent aphasia or a non-fluent aphasia, or is it more based on listening, word retrieval, cognition, reading, writing?
It's really everything. Certainly, our database is most robust right now in verbal expression. So, someone with more of an expressive aphasia. But every video, like I said, that's on there, I will type in, I will tag it as fluent, non fluent aphasia, Wernicke's, Broca's. So, no matter what they type in, they should come up with the best, most relevant videos to them
Neat.
if the categories themselves are, if they're struggling with that.
Okay.
But it is quite intuitive, I think, when you get on there. We've tried to keep it really simple, and it is very similar to a Netflix style look where, a video, there's categories, but then one video might appear in various categories depending on the level, the target, the exercise that you're doing. But certainly if anyone just types in a simple word, non-fluent, fluent, Broca, Wernicke, whatever they want to type in, it should populate with all of the most relevant videos.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on today, telling us about your journey in speech pathology and all about your amazing program, SpeechFlix.
Thank you so much for having me.
Folks, I will link to SpeechFlix in the show notes. And if you have any feedback for Sarah, she would love to hear it. And as always, if you have feedback for me about the show, you have a guest that you would like me to interview, bring onto the show, or product, whatever the case may be, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you all next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Listen for Life podcast. We hope you feel empowered and supported. Head over to listenforlifepodcast.com to see the show notes with links and information from today's episode. Do you have a topic, a resource to share, or a guest recommendation? Inquiring minds want to know. Let us know in the comments section. Wishing you a fabulous week.